So this is me attempting to do a video and my youngest decides to wake up. This is reality. Say cheese, everybody give a Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's Brittany Chanel, and today I am going to be sharing with you my experience being a single mom. I'm sure you single moms can relate that when you plan to do things, the little ones don't always nap the way you want them to. Laid her down for a nap. By the time I got everything set up to do this video, she decided to wake up, so she will be here hanging with us. I felt that, no need to try to lay her down because this is reality. Your kids don't always do things in the timing that you want it, so it's fitting. But I guess I wanted to start by talking about just my journey of just being a teen. I was 18 when I found out that I was pregnant with my oldest daughter, and that was rough. I didn't know what to do. My cousin helped me actually get a pregnancy test, and we stopped at like a Lenny's sub shop, and I did the test in the bathroom. And that's how I found out. But the journey of just figuring out, like, what are we gonna do? Me and the dad figuring out where we're gonna keep her. We were in college, not staying locally. So we had like a 3-hour drive or so, 3.5-hour drive. And just what are we gonna tell our parents? Are we gonna tell them? Are we gonna keep the baby? And that began to be the first conversation is, are we gonna keep her? Or it, because we didn't know it was her at the time. And once I found out I was pregnant, got the confirmation from the doctor, we hid it from everybody. We came home, I remember, for Christmas break, and we hid it from everybody. And that was tough because I had already started throwing up. So my cousin helped with cleaning up and keeping my mom away so she wouldn't know that I was throwing up and pregnant. But we had decided to go through with an abortion, and we had the appointment set up. We gathered up the money from, people we could trust, friends, family members, and the money that we had. We set the appointment up, and I never thought that I was going to be able to go through with it, but since we were so young and that's what the dad wanted, and he was kind of thinking that it was best for us, I went along with it as far as setting up the appointment. But the 2 days before I was supposed to go in for that appointment, the dad had a dream. He had a dream and felt that we should keep the baby. And that was the most relieving thing, is that we had made that decision, because that's truly ultimately what I wanted to do. So now that we had decided to keep the baby, next was, how do we tell our parents that we are gonna have a baby? And I just told my mom, I believe we were in the car on the way somewhere, and I just told her, and she was just kind of like, I knew it. Of course, moms always know. They can tell everything. But the parents were overall supportive. Although we were young, they were supportive, and then began our journey. Well, our relationship, since we were so young, began to hit rock bottom. I ended up ending that relationship while I was pregnant because it just was putting so much extra stress on me. I started to be afraid that I was going to lose the baby. So fast forward, the baby comes, baby's here, all of those emotions, you're excited about the baby, and then the father was present, he was there. And of course, you just think, oh, we're just gonna live happily ever after now that the baby's here. We're gonna gather our relationship together. Everything is gonna be just peachy, right? No. I remember pouring out my heart, and honestly, he was like, I don't think we'll ever get back together. My heart was devastated. So, on top of, just having a new baby and that postpartum depression, I just naturally just had an all around depression of just feeling unloved, just being lost, not knowing what was next for me. Now that I have this new baby, and I don't have the father to be in a relationship with, I just felt lost. And I went months of going into a deep depression. Honestly, it was the baby that kept me going and kept me happy in moments, because I loved being a mom. I still love being a mom, even though I don't like being pregnant, and I'm pregnant now. But I love being a mom, and that journey was rough. I mean, I wouldn't eat. I had got so skinny, people thought I was on drugs and would make little jokes. The dad's friends would make jokes, and they didn't know that it really, really hurt me. And I remember coming back, I decided to move back home, and I took a break from college. And when I attempted to get back into college, it wouldn't fall through because I was on academic probation from my previous semester. I tried applying for jobs. I couldn't get hired for nothing. It just seemed like everything in life was going wrong that could possibly go wrong. And I just remember getting on my knees, just crying. And at the time, I didn't really have a faith. I mean, I believed there was a God, but I didn't really understand everything, because I grew up, with my mom. They believed one thing, and then over my dad's or father's house, they believed different things. So I just was a little confused in general on my faith and everything like that. And lo and behold, my cousin had started attending a new church, and I remember going over her house one day with the baby, and she told me about the church she was attending and that I should try it out. So I remember going one day, and sure enough, the pastor spoke over me the first day I walked into the church. And at that point, I had been pouring out at the altar, God, if you're real, I need to know it right now. And he showed himself through that pastor to me. And I remember breaking down, and that was my start of discovering my faith and believing in Jesus. And you can believe whatever you believe, but that's just my personal testimony. And from that point on, I had a 1-month-old baby at that point, and literally my life started to turn. But at the same time, when you have a child and you're not in a relationship, you crave love so much. You want that, to feel loved. You want that relationship. You want that. And I wanted it with the Father. So I chased that. And when I couldn't have it, I would just look for it in other areas. And I found myself for a little while chasing love and, going out, going clubbing, going to do all those things. And thankfully, my mom was, there for me, and she would watch the baby and things like that. I didn't just abandon my child, but I was out partying. I was having fun on the weekends. And then we went through a financial struggle where my mom started getting sick and she lost her job, because I was living with her at the time. And so after losing her job, she lost her apartment. She tried getting disability, and it took years for it to officially get approved. And so we ended up losing our place to live. And like I said, I was struggling, still trying to find a job and keep a job, to where we lost. So we went living from family member to family member. And I remember my daughter's grandparents took me in. That was my last place of living before I got a good solid job. And they took me in, and me and the baby moved in. But it didn't feel great not having a place to live. Being a single mom, and being young, I had to learn a lot really, really fast. And that's one thing, you single moms, you're going to have to learn a lot really, really fast, especially if you're young and you're a teen mom. Your baby comes first, and you're going to have to learn a lot, and you're going to have to fight, and you're going to have to figure out employment and do whatever you can to provide for that child. And although, My daughter's grandparents were very supportive. The father, he was away at college and playing football, so he wasn't highly involved. But I knew at the end of the day that this child was my responsibility. So I had to do everything in my power to make sure that she was taken care of. And on top of that, when I finally did get an employment and was able to get a place to live, my mom was going through cancer. So I had a child to take care of and a mom with cancer to take care of, which, man, every day just thinking like, what if I lose her? You know, like that was the most terrifying thing to experience is what if I lose her? So that journey went on. I was beginning to grow in my faith, getting more involved in church. Like my church was my rock. They were my support system. They helped me through so much of discovering who I was, but also in being a mom and how to raise a child, to having male figures around my daughter who could pour into her and show her love. And you need that community. Like single moms, if you have that, I could do it all by myself, which you should in a way, but don't be to the point where you can't receive help from anybody. Receive help. Be open to receiving help. Because that's the one thing I know that saved me is just having that support system, having people who would back me in situations where I felt like I was failing as a parent, and having somebody to come in who maybe has experience in parenting and say, you know what, you're going to be okay. I've experienced this. You know, this is typical things you experience as a mom. Like everything is going to be okay. And so, like, you need that. So don't be afraid to have some people in your circle that you can count on, that you can trust to support you and help you. Because if you think I can do it all by myself, I don't need nobody, it's going to be hard for you. You're going to have it tough. You got to be willing to let somebody else come in and help you. And that's one thing I'm thankful that I have that community of people within my church, my daughter's grandparents, my mom that was supporting me. I was able to go back to school. I finished school. I graduated college. I got an even greater job that tripled my income. And I was able to get a better apartment because my first apartment, like we couldn't even afford that one, and it was still like not even spectacular. But it was in a nice enough apartment where nothing ever happened that was bad. So I began to really move up in life. And I think a lot of that came with me having my church community and helping me to find my identity in who I was in Christ. Like I 100% know that if it wasn't for that I would have been a lost soul. So whether you believe in God or not, find a support system and a community that can carry you through. Because I know that I didn't do this by myself, that God sent people to just help me along this journey. And I'm thankful for every single person that he sent across my path along that time. And one thing I didn't do is bring a lot of guys around my daughter. Like if I was dating a guy or talking to a guy, because I really didn't have any other serious relationships outside of my daughter's father, which we were in and out, back and forth, break up, make up. Sorry about that. She actually fell asleep. I'm sure you saw during the video. So I went and laid her down. But like I was saying, like me and the dad, one thing that we did talk about is that unless we were in a serious relationship with a person or anything like that, like we wouldn't just be bringing any type of guys or for him, any type of women around our child. And I think that helped our daughter because she didn't have to see me go through in and out of multiple different relationships with guys. Like the only person she even recalls seeing me with is her father. And most of you who know me know that after 7 years of an on and off relationship, me and the father did get married. That is my now husband for over 6 years now, and we're on our 5th child, which I love my family. They are amazing. We have 12-year-old, 4-year-old, 3-year-old, 1-year-old, and almost a newborn infant. But yeah, like if that whole journey was a journey in itself of how we got back together, of just really us finding ourselves. That's why I say focus on finding you, finding your identity, being a great mom, supporting your child, doing the best you can, striving for your best, striving for success every single day, but also focusing on becoming the best version of you. When I found that when I began to focus on becoming the best version of me as a mother, as a woman, like I wasn't really focusing on relationships. I'd been in a period of just not focusing on relationships and focusing on myself. And it was during that time that God prepared me for marriage. So if you spend all your time chasing a relationship and chasing that, you're never going to develop to the person that's ready for marriage. And to meet that guy that is the one that's going to be a great father. Like in my case, it so happened to be the father of my daughter who became my husband. But that's not always the case, and it won't be the case. And I had even came to a point where I was okay with that. I was okay if he and I did not get married. For the longest, I wanted that so bad. I wanted to have my family unit. But when I came to peace with knowing that even if Devin wasn't the one that was going to be my husband, I trusted God enough to know that he would bring me somebody better. That would make me totally forget about Devin. That would make me just completely forget about him. That will love me the way that I needed to be loved and be the father for Jada that she needed. And that's what I came to peace with. And the moment I came to peace with that, I was able to move forward and really focus on me. Don't focus on relationships. Don't focus on that. Focus on being a great mom and becoming the best version of yourself, and everything will come together. I promise you. I hope that my journey has helped you in some kind of way. Make sure to hit the subscribe button so that you can see all of my up and coming videos, as well as like, share, and comment down below just anything that I've said that's helped you. Or any questions that you may have that I maybe didn't specifically answer, but I wanted to give you the gist and the highlight points of my journey. And know that if I can make it, you can make it. It may seem hard, it may seem difficult, but you can do this. Love you guys.